Agi, and today we're continuing with our And You'll Never Guess What Happened series, where we attempt different fun and silly challenges and track how they go. In the last episode, we played 20 games using only snipers, which was about as difficult as you would expect. But in today's video, I'll be allowed to use any weapon I want. However, this time, I'll be playing duos without a partner, meaning I'll be 1 versus 2 almost every single fight. So, let's jump straight into it. So heading into the first game, I knew that if I was going to be able to take on 2 players at once, then the only way that I'd be able to do it successfully would be if I had plenty of materials. So I decided to land at the area north of Slurpy Swamp, where there are so many wood pallets that you can get to max within just a minute or two. From there, I headed towards Slurpy, hoping that I'd be able to get some fish, as well as better loot. However, before I can start fishing, I spot a player close by, and unsurprisingly, he's not alone. The first player blows himself up, and I deal a decent amount of damage to his partner, before finishing her off not long later. That fight was way too easy, but would everyone I come across be as bad as those two? Well, unfortunately not. Later that game, whilst heading towards the circle, I get shot at from behind. With me only seeing 1 player, I decide to push towards my opponent. Damn, they've got a partner. And what makes matters worse is I lose track of the player who initially shot at me, which allows me to become sandwiched between both players.
What the fuck?
In fairness, another team had decided to get involved, so I'd never have come out of there alive regardless. Game 2, I decide to land at the farmer's market, north of Frenzy Farm, as it's a great place to get decent loot and plenty of materials. However, I'm not alone. Eventually, what I can only assume is a duo decides to make an appearance. But somehow, I get shot at from behind. Great, it seems I'm pinched between multiple players.
Oh, fuck. Oh, come on.
Unlike when you play solos, when you kill someone in duos, there is a much bigger chance that someone will push you almost instantly, meaning you rarely have time to heal and loot up after getting a kill, which makes solo duos very, very difficult. But sometimes, killing even just 1 person from a duo could be too difficult, especially when your traps don't place properly.
Oh, what the fuck?
In game 4, I make it to the final 8 players before I see anyone, and my materials and loot are looking near enough perfect. I get into a fight with a fish stick, and thankfully, it's looking like he doesn't have a partner. We trade shots, but I've got plenty of heals, so I'm feeling confident. That is, until I hear the sound of an RPG. And if having to deal with an RPG wasn't bad enough, my opponent's partner turns up. And this is the perfect example of how easy it is to burn through 1500 materials in just a minute when you've got multiple players spraying at you.
Oh, jeez.
These first few games had been really difficult, so I adjusted my strategy. Now, the only time I would push a fight is when I can third party. That way, I know that my opponents will be weak. I managed to get both of these players low, until eventually, I knock one. However, the storm has started to move in, and I can't find the other player. I'm desperate to find him, as I need heals, otherwise, I'll die to the storm. However, my search for this player is unsuccessful, and I do indeed die to the storm. The next game, I once again go to third party a fight and get some early chip damage against one of the players, before knocking him moments later. This is near enough exactly how I wanted it to play out, with it leaving me 1v1 against his teammate. However, it doesn't go exactly as I'd planned.
Oh, fuck.
Nice little phase there. So 7 games in now, and it's gone about as horribly as I'd expected. But by this point, I was tired of looting up, getting materials, and then just dying to the first duo I see. So I decided to change up my strategy and go for a hot drop. An opponent lands on the roof, so I decide to go for the basement chest. A blue RPG and a shield first chest? I'll definitely take that. I knock a player early on, but the pickup glitch really screws me, meaning I can't pickaxe this player and take their loot before more players arrive. With me only having an RPG with 2 rockets, I decide to hide in the basement and wait for the perfect opportunity to jump out and surprise my opponent. That's what I'm talking about. But that's not the last of the players at Pleasant, as I get pushed soon after. I go for high ground before taking my compulsory fall damage. I really want to maintain high ground to maximise the effectiveness of my RPG, but I quickly run out of materials, which makes the following fight way more awkward than I'd have liked. So I'm able to come out of Pleasant with 5 kills. Thank God for RPGs. I don't see another player until there are only 4 other players left, and I decide to sneak up on one. Suddenly, I'm somehow 1v1 against the final player. How has this happened? I take some shots at the final player, but not enough of them connect, and end up losing track of where this player's gone. I suspect that they might be hiding in this bush, but I'm really not sure, so I keep shooting at it, hoping to destroy it, and I jump up and down so that I don't get sniped.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh well, I guess he was there then. And sensing that I'm here for the taking, my opponent finally decides to leave the safety of the bush. Get in! A 7-kill win. The RPG is just so damn clutch. That was the first time I've ever called someone a bitch after the winning kill, but he was hiding in a bush, so can you really blame me?
Fuck.
In game 9, I see a massive build fight between 2 duos, near frenzy, and because I'm now a solo duo winning veteran and undoubtedly the best player in this lobby, I decide to get involved in the action. I can't quite work out where the players are until I eventually realise that one is hiding in a pyramid. Somehow that wasn't a headshot, but it was still enough to knock the player, and his teammate is dealt with shortly after. Damn, solo duos is actually getting kind of easy. I thought this was supposed to be a challenge, and later that game, still full of confidence, I decide to push a duo. Oof, what a laser. I go to finish off the player, and his teammate is not going down without a fight. Okay, this was way more difficult than I was expecting, and my opponent is able to revive his teammate. At this point, I really wished I'd not pushed in.
Fuck.
That was annoying, but I was still high on my victory a couple games ago. So I go into game 10 ultra confident, as clearly I'm now an expert at winning solo duos. But Bad Bloom wasn't going to stop me from winning this fight.
No.
Great, I'm garbage again. I spoke too soon. The next game, I encounter a duo near the farmer's market, and I hope to get an early knock with my sniper.
What the fuck?
My sniper aim might have been off, but I still knock him eventually, and suddenly, the storm closes in. Even though I'm able to break my opponent's shield, I completely lose track of them. Now, I'm in a really bad position. I need to kill this player and pray that they've got a medkit, otherwise I'm dead.
What's he got? Oh my god. How have you... Oh my god.
In game 12, it seems that Epic had seen that I'd been struggling these last few games, and I see something that I've not witnessed in my games in a long time.
Ooh, that's a psycho. Are these bots? What the hell? Hey, come here more. Hey, hey, hey. Whoa, 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 calm down. Whoa!
I couldn't tell you the last time I'd seen bots in my games. I couldn't believe it. But would I encounter more bots in this match? Well, as I'm sure many of you will be accustomed to by now, I forgot to record the rest of this game. I didn't win the match, but I do remember being killed by a really bad player. So hopefully this is the start of me getting some easier lobbies. The next game, I decided to land at a pylon near dirty docks, and whilst trying to pick up some loot, I almost snapped my ankles.
Oh my fucking hell.
Later that game, having spent the last couple of weeks practicing in creative, I decided to box fight this lone player. But before I can finish him off, my kill is stolen from me. The kill stealing duo decides to push me, and I knock one of them fairly easily, but I'm left in a really awkward position, with the ground making it really difficult to edit my way away from my opponent. But once the storm starts to move in, I'm forced to rush out of this precarious position.
Fuck.
In game 14, I decide to land at retail, but there are so many players around me. Was that another bot? I'm not sure. I see another player going for the revive, but I'd rather die than let them get the revive off. And they almost do.
Oh my god.
I knock another player shortly after, before ramping up towards his teammate. Look at that hipfire bloom. Give me all of that. Thank you, Epic. Later that game, I get another really easy kill against another potential bot before I spot a player reviving his teammate. And like the gentleman that I am, I allow him to get the revive off, before sending them both back to the lobby.
What the fuck is going on?
9 kills! How on earth has this happened? But unfortunately, my joy was soon short-lived, as my domination of this lobby came to an end moments later.
Oh, what the fuck?
For quite a while now, I've considered duos to be the toughest playlist, but especially this season, with skill-based matchmaking, I found it even tougher. I can get solo wins fairly consistently, and squads has always been pretty easy. But duos? That has been a different story completely, and I'm not entirely sure why.
No! Oh my god.
One of the hardest parts of playing solo duos is dealing with SMG and assault rifle spam. It really is a nightmare, and so often I would find myself in between enemies shooting at me from different angles, which I really struggle to deal with.
Fucking hell.
Something interesting that I found when playing these games is that it often got more difficult to get kills as the match went on. And I think the main reason for that is that by the end of the match, everyone has materials and heals, which makes it a lot harder to get quick and easy kills, as my opponents were much more able to prolong the fight, at least in comparison to early game. So unlike in solos, where most of my kills would come at the end, in these solo duo matches, most of my kills would come early on.
Fucking hell.
But that's not to say that early game was really easy for me, as it certainly wasn't. In fact, early game was a struggle as well.
Oh, what the
So finally, we've made it to game 20, and honestly, this has been tough. This has been really tough. So I was glad that this ordeal was finally coming to an end soon. But even though it was unlikely, I was still optimistic that I'd be able to end the video on a high, with my second win. And the game actually starts off pretty well, as I get a couple early kills, which gave me confidence going into the late game. I don't see any more players until I reach the top 10, when I spot some players looting at Salty, having just won a battle against another duo. As I know that one of them is weak, I decide to push in aggressively. However, before I know it, I start getting shot at by another duo, which is the last thing I need right now. But having sweated box fights these last few weeks, it was good to see that all of this practice could be put into good use. Although getting shot at by another team really wasn't helping. I'm able to get some really nice loot from the bodies, but I'm left desperately low on health due to the storm. And even worse, I start getting focused by the rest of the lobby, with bullets, grenades and RPGs heading in my direction. I do my best to fend them off and prolong the inevitable, but in the end, my best just isn't good enough.
Oh!
So there we have our 20 games, and to be honest, this might have been the most frustrating challenge I've ever done. Even more frustrating than playing with only snipers. And that's mainly due to the fact that duos is just so much more difficult to play than solos. It's hard enough to play, even with a partner. But when you're having to 1v2 almost every fight, there's not an awful lot you can do, unless you're a really good player. But hey, I still managed to get a win, so I see it as a success, regardless. So, do you struggle with duos? And have you ever clutched a duo win when your partner has been killed? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, if you want to support me as a content creator, then feel free to use my creator code, which is on the screen now. So anytime you buy something in the item shop and use my code, it'll go directly towards supporting the channel, which would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe for more. And I'll see you next time for another video. Goodbye.